Hey y'all, welcome back to another garden tour video. This first thing is my banana tree, banana plant. I don't know what you would call it. One of my neighbors went to, I think it was Alabama, and brought home a banana tree, plant, whatever. And they nursed it back to health and it started growing babies. And so I got this one, and you can see that the leaves are very sunburned. I actually ended up moving it over to the north side by the leafy greens, so that it could get sun, but not too much sun, because there's no protection on this back porch. Over to our leafy greens. They're looking a lot better after they were dead and wilty. These green beans are just not, I don't know. They look terrible. And I'll show you in this week's coming video. They're basically non-existent. I'm pretty sure it's the blister beetles. They are destroying everything. So over to the big garden. I'm just gonna show you, because I'm super excited, the tomatoes. All the plants have beautiful large tomatoes. If you weren't around for my planting video, I have some pink tomatoes, I have some yellow tomatoes, and then I have some red tomatoes. And then, not in this tomato line, up in front of my corn, there are some plum tomatoes, which are basically the same thing as Roma tomatoes. None of these tomatoes are ripe yet, but they are there, which is nice. So yeah, those are looking nice and hearty, delicious. I cannot wait to eat actual tomatoes. And you'll notice that some of these plants have some curling on the leaves. That's just because it's been 5 billion degrees here. I'm not joking. Literally, it's 5 billion degrees. My pepper plants are looking amazing. There's not a lot of flowers on them. I'm not sure what's going on. Some of them do have vegetables on them. Some fruit, some peppers. That's the word I'm looking for. Just refer to them as pepper plants. There's a cute little shot. My little helper is carrying my basket for me. This is our corn, and the corn is not ready to pick yet. I don't know if it got pollinated enough. But yeah, I'm 5'9", and this is a shot of my corn in comparison to my height. So it's about 6 inches taller than I am. These are my Roma tomatoes. They are looking pretty good. They're shorter than the other tomato plants, but still looking good. These green beans, I've just decided they're going to be a, sacrificial plant, because they're covered in blister beetles. I didn't show you that in that video, but yeah. And then this is my squash and cantaloupe. We're in between the beans and squash. Nope, zucchini. These are my okras. These first two up here are looking a little puny. I think it's just from the way the watering works. We're just using a garden sprinkler, a yard sprinkler. I don't know at this point. It's working well enough, so that's that. This is my squash. You can see that some of the leaves are kind of droopy. That is the effect of squash beetles. 2 days later, I had to pull that plant up because it was completely dead. And then these are my peppers and eggplants. The eggplants are really starting. If you get a few cool days, those eggplants will sprout up like nobody's business. They're amazing. And over to the cucumbers. We have a bunch of cucumbers. We just weeded, like some extensive weeding. If you cannot tell the difference, if you did not watch last week's video, literally this whole thing was weeds. But we did some very extensive weeding, and parts of some of these viney plants got a little bit damaged. So you'll notice that on the cucumbers. But we have some gigantic watermelons. These watermelons are taking over the garden like viney plants do. I think next year I'm going to try to come up with a better system than what we have going this year. Another side shot of our zucchini. There actually used to be 3 zucchini plants, and one of them has already been lost to squash bugs. They are the worst. And unless you're out here to pick them off every single day, probably like twice a day, they're going to take your plants once they get infested. Like, you cannot win the battle. They have these giant, disgusting larva things that just burrow through your plant stalks. They're so terrible. Yeah. These are now, as I'm recording the audio to this, these are now dead. So, then, yeah, I'm just showing you that some of my pepper plants have some peppers, these are jalapenos. I keep saying pepper plants. They are peppers, yes, but they're jalapeno plants, and I planted them on the other side of the garden so that they don't cross-pollinate with my bell peppers. So these are my jalapenos. Most of them are looking really good. Most of them have peppers on it. These are my cruciferous vegetables. Here are the cauliflowers. Most of the cauliflower have these nice large heads on them. They look really great. And I don't think I picked any of these this day. But yeah, the cauliflowers are looking great. They keep getting sunburnt, but that's not really harmful to the actual plant or the fruit. It still tastes pretty good. This is the broccoli. All of our broccolis are producing really well. So yeah, and you can see these dang freaking caterpillar worm things. I didn't figure you wanted to watch me sit there and pick all the little worms off my broccoli, so I didn't do that, but I usually pick those off if I can visibly see them. I go back and do it, don't worry. And you can see that something's getting in my cabbage. Same kind of worm. It's freaking annoying. Over to the cantaloupe. These are looking great. There are probably a dozen cantaloupe in there growing at the time I recorded this. I'm just trying to give you a peek. We actually just ate one of those yesterday. We ate the whole thing in one day because it was so delicious. Like, I couldn't stop. It was delicious. Here's another shot of my beans. Again, looking quite terrible. You can see some of the little holes in them. That is the blister beetles. Let me tell you, these blister beetles, they are everywhere. I've never had blister beetles so bad in my life. They're in my house. I don't even know what to do. They're freaking terrible this year. Like, what is it? Are you guys having blister beetles? I've never had blister beetles this bad in my life. I figured I'd go ahead and show you my little, I don't know, I want to say vegetable haul, but that's not the correct word, harvest. I figured I'd show you my little harvest. You'll notice there are 2 tomatoes in there. And that is because Carter was so excited about tomatoes that he went ahead and picked some of the green ones. So, that is all I have for you guys today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you have a garden and how it's going. I hope you all have an awesome rest of your week, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, y'all.